Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all my Ashened Yugioh deck profile for February 2024. This is the new TCG exclusive deck for the Phantom Nightmare series. A deck that focuses, I'm seeing, really on the Dark Soul theme. I guess we've gotten other themes for TCG exclusive decks. Cosmos, use the Wizard of Oz, Burning Abyss used Dante's Inferno, and now we have a Dark Soul themed deck in the form of the Ashened Monsters. Being a Pyro themed deck, it definitely has some power behind it. We don't have too many cards so far for the deck, but maybe we'll see some more in the Legacy of Destruction set. So we're working with a pretty generic lineup build, but still wanted to provide a deck for you all and just what the deck was comprised of. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. Ideally, I do want to run 3 copies of Vidos, the Eruption Dragon of Extinction, but only have the 1 copy for now. During the main phase, if this card's in your hand, quick effect, you can target 1 card in your field zone, special summon this card to your opponent's field, and if you do destroy that card, then you can add to your hand or set 1 Ashened Continuous Trap from your deck. If this card is sent from your opponent's field to the graveyard, you can destroy all monsters on the field. You can only use each effect of Vidos, the Eruption Dragon, once per turn. So this is kind of like setting up the dragon on your opponent's field for you to destroy with your other monsters you have. So a definite 3 of, because then you just can help to set it up with some of your other cards in the deck, including the spells and traps needed for the Ashened lineup. We're also running 3 copies of Priestess of the Ashened City. With this card, if Obsidian, the Ashened City, is in the field zone, which is our go-to field spell in the deck as well, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Priestess of the Ashened City once per turn this way. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 Ashen card from your deck to your hand, except for Priestess of the Ashened City, and you can only use this effect of Priestess of the Ashened City once per turn. So having search power, being a level 4 monster, it's your go-to normal summon out onto the field, and then being able just to have a special summon if your field spell is all the better. Giving you this play, you can have the special summon and then use your normal summon for one of your other setups if you wanted to go for it. Also, for some of the lower numbers, we're running 2 copies of King of the Ashened City. If Obsidian, the Ashened City, is in the field zone, you can special summon this card from your hand. So just having a good lineup of many different special summon cards using the field zone as your setup. And also, during your main phase, you can special summon 1 Ashen monster from your hand, except for King of the Ashened City. If your opponent controls a monster with 2800 or more attack, you can special summon this card from your deck instead. You can only use this effect of King of the Ashened City once per turn. So this is why we give our opponent Vidos, the Eruption Dragon of Extinction, because then we can just grab King of the Ashened City from the main deck to summon on the field as a resource to then take down the dragon. With the last of our Ashened monsters being Hero of the Ashened City, which we run 2 copies of as well. If Obsidian, the Ashened City, is in the field zone, having the same special summon play from our hand, and then during the main phase, you can target 1 Pyro monster on the field, destroy it. Then if you destroyed Vidos, the Eruption Dragon of Extinction, by this effect, you can place 1 Obsidian, the Ashened City, from your deck face up in your field zone. So then you just give your opponent the dragon to then be able to destroy it as well, to then have the destruction play needed for your setup of your other cards. And then for the rest of the main deck monsters, we're running a pretty big hand trap lineup. Like I said, we only really have the Ashen monsters to go off of for the plays. Now I have 3 Ash Blossom and 3 Effect Veiler in the deck. Now the one thing you could potentially run in this deck, but definitely very pricey, is Bonfire, because we do have a level 4 Pyro monster search in the Ashen deck to search off of Bonfire. If you wanted to run Bonfire, you can always, just decrease your hand trap lineup. We have the 3 Ash Blossom, the 3 Effect Veiler, and also just the 2 Nibiru as well. You could drop the Nibiru down and also 1 Effect Veiler down to add in a playset of Bonfire if you wish to run a playset of that card. And then moving on now to the spells, as it was mentioned in all the other cards, we run 3 copies of Obsidian, the Ashened City. Face up, special summon monsters your opponent control become Pyro during your turn only. You can use this effect of the following effects of Obsidian, Ashened City once per turn. During your end phase, you can target 1 Obsidian, the Ashened City, in your graveyard, place it on the bottom of your deck, then draw 1 card. And if this card's in the field zone, is destroyed or banished, you can special summon 1 Ashen monster from your deck. So this card just helps to recycle itself as well, being able to put the ones that you destroyed off of your Vidos back onto the bottom of the deck, targeting the field spell, special summon this card, destroying the one you would get, but then being able to grab another one to then reuse again and give you continuous draw power as well, so you're at least going in to multiple cards to use for this field spell also. and we're also running the 3 copies of Awakening of Vidos. This is our searcher. You place 1 Obsidian, the Ashen City, from your deck face up in your field zone, in either field zone. Then if your opponent controls a card in their field zone, you can add 1 level 5 or higher Dark Pyro monster from your deck to your hand. For the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon from the deck or extra deck except for Pyro monsters. So while with a little bit of a lockdown for your extra deck plays, it does help to at least set up the field spell needed to then get the dragon on the field on your opponent's side, which can also help to wipe out their own monsters while set up your special summon monsters having that face-up field spell in the field spell zone. And then for more search power, we run the 3 Pot of Extravagance just to grab more cards into our hand and hopefully draw into the needed field spells as well. The 2 copies of Crossout Designator, just because we do run a good number of different hand traps to stop our opponent from, well, you know, especially Nibiru, Ash Blossom, you name it. We need our field spell search or our monster special summon, so this can help just to stop it by, you know, banishing our own hand traps. And also the 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. Once again, hand trap stopping, just giving you more draw power to potentially draw into the field spell or monsters we need. And lastly, the 1 copy of Call by the Grave and the 1 copy of Terraforming as just an additional field spell search. And then for the traps, running 2 copies of Ashened for Eternity. When this card is activated, you can add 1 Vidos, the Eruption Dragon of Extinction, or 1 Ashen monster from your graveyard to your hand. You can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. That monster your opponent controls currently loses attack equal to the targeted monster's original attack. This change lasts until the end of this turn. You can use this effect of Ashened for Eternity once per turn. So with this, you have the way to weaken the dragon as well for your Ashen monsters to then be able to take it down because they have lower attack in total than Vidos to begin with. So at least then you have another option for your monsters to then be able to destroy it, but also set up another one for you, giving you the search for Vidos to summon onto your opponent's field. Also 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence just for the hand trap stop, as well as another Crossout Designator target if need be, and also the 2 copies of Metaverse. Once again, field spell being very, very important in the deck, just having more search and setup thanks to this card also, whether you want to place it in the field spell zone or just add it to your hand. And then for the extra deck, we run 2 copies of Infernal Flame Banshee. Needing 2 level 4 monsters, you can detach 1 material from this card to take 1 Pyro monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. If this card is banished or you control a Pyro monster, you can special summon this card. If you do, it gains attack equal to the number of your currently banished monsters until the end of this turn. So just giving us a search for a Pyro monster, either adding it to our hand or sending it to the graveyard. Searches for a good variety of the deck to begin with. So 2 copies of this card to use with our level 4 monsters. And then also the 1 copy of Tornado Dragon, the 1 Baguska, and the 1 Zeus. I know some cards lock us into Pyro plays, but still having some additional Xyz monsters along with our Link monster lineup is also needed for the banish cost for the Pot of Extravagance that we run the deck as well. So 1 SP Little Knight, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Dark the Dark Charmer, 1 Barricade Board Blocker, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and the 1 IP Masquerena for some of the Link 2s, with the rest of the Link monsters being 1 Wee Witch's Apprentice, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, the 1 Apollosa, and the 1 Axis Code. Like I said, we're not always locked into just the Pyro monsters, but sometimes if we just have a variety of random cards to banish, we'll at least hit some cards with the Pot of Extravagance and then have other ones to at least be able to reuse also against our opponents. And as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, this deck is pretty much just a 1-card setup play at the moment, focusing around the field spell. So with this card, being able to have the protection for your opponent's Pyro monsters as well, limiting to what they could summon on the field, you're basically giving them a boss monster that they have to deal with, since you have the destruction of your Obsidian to then summon out your Vidos onto the field as well. Then if you have your normal summon for your Priestess of the Ashen City with the Vidos on your opponent's field. With this card, having either the normal or summon or special summon play, being able to add 1 Ashened card from your deck to your hand, you can then search out the other additional field spell, giving you special summon power needed to then go up against the dragons, and you'll then have special summon power for your hero, the Ashen City, and also be able to grab cards like King of the Ashen City straight from your deck since you have the field spell face up. You have the destruction power, the setup of your opponent's Pyro monsters, also being fire monsters, and then you just need the means to be able to defeat that monster in the field with your many different monsters that you run as well. But also just being able to use Hero the Ashen City to target a Pyro monster means you could destroy Vidos if you put it on your opponent's field. But since the field spell also makes all of your opponent's monsters Pyro, destroying any monsters they may have just thanks to this card as well to begin with. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, this is the first introduced support for the Ashened deck, so we don't have too much to go off of. And as I said, you could run the bonfires if you have them for a little more search power, but if you don't have them, it's not the end of the world and you don't really need them to play the deck. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.